Chesed. As always, we take a moment to allow everyone time to link up and link into our live stream. We're going to be picking up on things that keep people from performing the mitzvah of Chesed, or the mitzvahs related to Chesed, in order for one to focus their energy on doing more good deeds. We do want to allow people to do good deeds. We don't want to encourage them to do good deeds. Thank you for the comment about the class. We're adding all types of stuff now, adding more content. Now that fortunately YouTube is more cooperative with me, there's some great stuff in there. If you haven't seen the class on Jewish lineage, that class is really top notch. I did that one. That one was fun. That was when we were just opening things up after the pandemic. That was one of the first classes we were giving as part of the Kollel. I don't give those Kollel classes so much anymore. I'm kind of dominating the scene. They give it to a lot of younger Rabbanim, and I focus more of my energy on giving those classes to the smaller advanced group. But we're going to now talk about, we're not going to focus on talking about my channel. We're going to focus on learning about those things that cause people to be lax in the performance of Chesed, and how we're going to respond to their complaints of having to do Chesed. So as we go through this, I'll have some interesting stories of discussions I've had about people and other Rabbanim specifically about making time for Chesed. I feel that it's really an important discussion to have. So we're going to go through the Chafetz Chaim, meaning the Chafetz Chaim, the author himself, or Yisrael Merkagan Zatzal, his statements about people who don't make time to do Chesed, and what distractions they are encountering which disrupt their ability to do Chesed. And often they do this by choice. So he points out, we're going to begin by saying the following. We have learned how amazing the reward is for those who are performing Chesed. It's amazing. It causes Hashem to want to do Chesed for you. It creates a world just full of reciprocated kindness. And now we're going to start talking about those things that people who have chosen to be lax in this mitzvah. We're going to discuss their complaint, and he says we're going to annihilate their logic. He uses the word bittul svarosehem. Bittul always means it's going to be destroyed, annihilated. We refer to it, bittul chametz is something where we talk about that usually. We do biur and bittul. Biur, it is basically lit on fire and turned to ashes. Bittul means it doesn't exist, it has no value, it's nothing. So I like using the translation here of annihilating their approach. Because in this, through this, we're going to come to build something else. The Gemara in Megillah says that, why was it that Shlomo HaMelech was able to build the base of Mikdash, but through his own son, he basically caused a big rift in Israel, and because the son spent a lot of money on building, but the father was, the one who really made a lot of changes. So the Gemara says that what the youth build, considering to be building, is really destructive, and what the older generations were destroying was really constructive, was very constructive. They were laying a foundation for you, and you didn't take it. Instead, you followed something much more selfish. And that is what we're going to discuss today. So here's what I would say for those who try to explain that we don't have the ability or the wherewithal to do Chesed. So he says, I have a mnemonic device for you. We're going to use the Roshei Tevos, okay, the beginnings of these letters. So you could use them again across the poem. So he says it's Yehi Petza Atzel, which means you've been smitten with laziness. So what that stands for is Yira, fear of doing it, Ha'elem, just not paying attention to it, Yediah, your knowledge of it, your awareness of it, Patur, looking for an exemption, Tsar Ayin, which is funny, which is the pei tzadiyal. Sarayin means that you just are recalcitrant. You won't want to do anything. And otzel, pure laziness. And he explains what do these things mean. He says that the lazy person is basically destructive. Okay, and he destroys every part of his own spirit, and that's why we link them together. Okay, so we're going to discuss this now. So those are people who are lazy in performing this mitzvah because of yira. Yira is the first one. Okay, why? And a person feels that he makes a good decision with his money and someone else won't, and so therefore he won't trust somebody else with what he has, and that's why he doesn't do chesed with them. He won't give out loans. He won't do any X, Y, Z. So here's the following ways in which he does it. So number one, if he has a small amount of measure, okay, and he was able to give this small measure to a person out of the mitzvah of tzedakah, or because he's giving him a small loan, as we learned before, giving a small loan is a nice thing to do, and he's still worried about even giving this small loan, maybe $50, $100, okay, even with the slightest chance of loss. So he says it's one thing if it was just losing the principal on the loan, but the Torah still basically obligates you to give these types of loans, and the problem is with getting it back from the other guy. It doesn't mean you should do it. The Torah says you should do it. Okay, and you can't even say, "Oh, I'm not going to get this amount back." That's not an excuse from performing this mitzvah. Why? Because it says you're supposed to keep your brethren strong. So you can't say, "Yeah, he's not going to pay me back, therefore I don't give it to him." Nonetheless, you're even further going to be obstinate about not giving the loan, even when he wants to give you something to guarantee the loan against it, right? And you could then sell it to collect on your loan. So even then, this type of person won't want to do it, but he doesn't want to deal with having to take a guarantee and then try to collect later on. Okay. However, as we said previously, that if it's a lot of money and the guy requesting the loan is kind of a tough person to deal with, it would be difficult to get the money back. So that's different. But just the Stam case is Stam guy, right? Regular guy. He's asking for $50. Like, go get himself something to eat. Maybe feed the family for the night. His credit card's not working. Everything's going down tubes. Whatever's going on. He's saying, I'm not gonna do that. Okay, so that's the first part of Yira. Second part of Yira, right, a fear of not getting your money back, is that you think that you're going to need the money. Okay, sort of the anxiety over the money. Now, that makes sense. Okay, if you did need the money, right, and it was something that you needed, so technically, yes, you do come first because your life comes before their life. That's a general rule. The Talmud sets that down. But that's if you have something to do with the money. If it's just sitting in your wallet and you could give it to him or her, whoever it is that needs this money, if you're not using it, why would you not do this chesed for the other person who needs the money now, who wants to use the money now, whatever it is, whether it's a need, it's a want, and they have something they can do with it, but they'll give you the money back, hopefully. And for some reason, this kind of logic doesn't move a person to want to do chesed, even though we're being told that you should be doing this type of chesed. Unless you see magically that somehow you're going to need this money, why are you holding on to it? Why won't you just let them go ahead and use it? You'll get it back. Okay, and that should be your way of looking at it. Is that I'm like it's just not going to use it right, and especially somebody who's very wealthy. And you have just the money that's not doing anything, okay? It's sitting in your wallet, sitting in your bank account, and you could do a mitzvah with it. And these people are asking for the mitzvah, okay? And the truth is that you trust them. They're not going to blow through the money. They'll give it back to you, or they'll give you something of value to hold on to. So there's a mitzvah to do that, and still, nonetheless, you're going to say, I really want to be in charge of this money. I don't want to be letting go of the money. I refuse to let it go. My anxiety is too high about it. and they'll come up with all types of reasons not to let it go. Okay, and even if you wanted to do that, it's and be involved and constantly keep themselves involved in all of these other jobs, even though they can't give it the attention that that they want to. They're still insisting that if they're only going to let this money go into it, if they themselves can have some control over it. And yes, we already said that if you will give money, which is predicated on the availability of funds to the person lending it, and the Sefer HaChinuch says this as well, it's mitzvah 66. But if a person doesn't have the money for it, you're right, you would be exempt from that. But if you, and we also said that your life comes from someone else's life, but once you have all those other things taken care of, why are you not allowing someone else to benefit from this money? Let them become even more successful. Then everyone is predicated, and then everyone's doing well. Nothing's predicated on just living off of your money as if it was given to them for free. And it doesn't matter how much this money is, because you'll just find people who want to go ahead and use it for something. If you're not using it, it's just sitting there. So why not allow someone else the pleasure of being successful with it? And at the very least, you'll get the principal back, if you don't see the value out of the investment that you were hoping. Nonetheless, that's what the Torah says, that you should be giving out these loans and doing these other things for people. And there's even a third fear that people have, that they won't do a mitzvah with their money. The idea is that maybe that they're going to take that money and make themselves to be wealthy in another city, right? There's a story out right now about Anna Sorokin, I think is her name. There's a show out called Inventing Anna. She did this. She pretended to be a wealthy person, right? Then she was a fraudster, and she went to jail some years ago. I think it was 6-7 years ago, when she was convicted of defrauding a number of wealthy people in and around certain social sections of New York. And she was using Instagram to do it. Right? Here, you're just going to take the money, you're going to flash the dollar bills around to make yourself important with that money. And then you're going to be stuck trying to get the money back to this guy who gave you the money. So, are you allowed, through some concern like this, to exempt yourself from the Torah's requirement to give the money? So it's not any different. To say that person will take the money and then spend it lavishly on themselves is really, really beyond the pale of accusations leveled at somebody. So we see that that a person who does that is a huge sinner to do that, and they're going to be punished in this world. Okay, but a person who refuses to give the loans, they're also going to be punished in this world, where their own money will run out. And we saw this a few other times, mentioned it previously. So if you do tzedakah, you'll get money. If you get money, you'll do more tzedakah. That's a big wheel that keeps circulating, right? That's the whole point. And this is how the world will continue to go. And will take you to a place that will be full of reward, like Olam Haba. But if you don't do tzedakah with it, so then you'll just float away. Just like you think. If you think money is transient, your life can be transient. So you have to look at things as having some value, and to be exchangeable, for that way for you to feel safe and secure that things will be around. So if you act and you conduct yourself like someone who believes that things are safe and secure, then Hashem conducts the world in that way as well. And we also said clearly that you should give them the money, right? Because when you give them the money, you should feel good about them getting the money in the Shemitah year. Okay, this is when we talk about Shemitah, it's in Devarim, Tesvav, Yud. That's how we should feel. And with tzedakah and other chesed like this, we said that things become better when you do better, when you act better. The world around you becomes better. And so if this person were to say, "Oh, I became rich as a result of this person," hey, that's good. It looks good for you, right? Why is that? Why worried about it? Hashem will pay you back, is basically how you should look at it. And you shouldn't look at it as if somehow this is some type of curse that Hashem has caused for you. Oh, Hashem is sending me these lazy people who will never pay me back. They want to live off of free money. So a person shouldn't look at it like that. And they shouldn't look at it. They should look at it as if they're putting and investing money into something. There's a lot of benefit to what's going on. But again, as we said before, you shouldn't have to give over so much money that it prevents you from living and doing, making decisions that you were able to do. We're talking about you have extra funds, and so you have to use a little sechel, a little intelligence to figure out what that money looks like. And not worry about these other types of things. Okay, so the person shouldn't be so drawn down that they should feel that when they give the money to somebody else, that somehow they're going to be cheated out of the value of that money. So they should feel like it's going to continue on. Okay, and instead they should focus on doing chesed with it. Okay, that's the end of actually section 8, and let's talk about the next section over here. I think we'll have time to get through it. We're going to talk about eliminating the claim of the Yetzer Hara, okay, which comes through a lack of knowledge and a desire to neglect it or to exempt yourself from it. So we already said that these feelings, the idea of being lazy and trying to exempt yourself from it, were part of the 7 things, the 10 things, sorry, that the Ahavas Chaim says are detrimental to doing chesed. There are these feelings. So those people who are weak in performing this mitzvah of chesed, they just don't. It's because of a lack of knowledge of certain things. Okay, so I said that was one of the things. So they decide to turn away. Again, it's another one of the things that he mentioned. How important the mitzvah is. They don't know the mitzvah. They don't look at the mitzvah. They don't look at the rules. They just think by doing what I do right for me is what's good. And they don't care that the Torah has a different feeling for them. All right? They think oh no, the Torah says do sukkah, do lulav, do tefillin, right? And they don't say look at your brother. Look at how well you could do to help out a poor person. No, they think that it's as long as they help somebody get a sukkah or get a lulav, that's what they want, right? But to help them pay their bills, help them get a job, to help them try out a business, they think no, I'm good. They got their own things to worry about that. I'll help them with getting tefillin. So chas v'shalom that someone should conduct themselves in this way. There is that that a person should be so sad that they've come to this situation. Rather, they should feel happy that Hashem has given them the opportunity to do this mitzvah with somebody else to help them improve their life, because this is an actual investment in the mitzvahs that Hashem would want you to do, which is to achieve more opportunities to perform chesed. That a person should look to trying to contact other people, especially when we're such a small part of creation itself, and we have only a certain amount of time we live on this planet, that we have to try to do as many mitzvahs and upright things as possible to leave a better world behind us when we're gone. And that's what Hashem is looking for as well. And a person who like this doesn't see the value of doing chesed. They don't see it as the same level, because they see it as too big a deal, but not as a small deal, right? So they think that no, it's I'm gonna have to try to force myself to get the money back. I don't want to have to deal with this doing this mitzvah. And it's even with you only have to do it once in a while. Excuse me. They think that no, it's gonna be so difficult, and it's gonna make my life unhappy, and I don't want to deal with that. That's what they're saying. So the author says, I want to tell you something. And when you think about this, you see how much it makes sense. Let's say somebody bumped into this buddy on the street. Says him, listen, bro. Says Achim here, brother, right? Brother. No, this is brother. Say bro. We say bro. We translate it as a bro. Could you lend me a little bit of money for a little bit of time? Right? That's he asked him for that. So even if the lender knows him and trusts him, and this only happens rarely when he asks him for money, he's going to give him 100 reasons, literally translated in here, 100 reasons why he can give him the money. He says, I have the money at home and it's taking me long to get there. You should come to me when I'm at home. You know, then unless God gave you the opportunity to complete this mess on the street and you ignore it. You could have given him something and said, I can give you more. Another explanation he would give to give him excuses. Well, I really would want to write a contract for this. Okay, and I don't want to have to deal with doing that right now. Or there's an outstanding loan against me. Or go visit this other guy. He'll give you a loan, and even though it would be important to go ahead and care for the person standing in front of you asking for your help, and you're trying to sort of go on your way back home, then you've got to move the time to the street, and even if that you write up a document and you could give him a loan. And he's like, no, if I'm writing up documents, that's considered too much hassle and too much difficulty. And I don't enjoy that. It doesn't make him feel good. Okay? Even if you gave him the loan, you would give it to him in anger and frustration because you're like, oh, I had to write a star for your stupid loan. So check this out. If this one guy were to meet you on the street again, okay, and this person was a truthful person, he turns to him, listen, I have such a great business deal for you. I need to tell you about it at home. You would same person would then run home, sit and have coffee with this guy, drop everything else the rest of the day, clear up my schedule, hold my mail. I'm going to be hearing this story from this person about making all kinds of money. Because when you hear about something for yourself, then you'll make the effort. Then you'll drop everything. Then you'll do this. What kind of help do you need from Hashem to just benefit yourself? Right? You don't need to put a lot of money down into it. You put something into this investment. Right? To lose it's not a big deal. So why wouldn't you do the same thing to do a loan to somebody else when they've asked you for help in the same fashion? I asked you in the street for help. You said no. But this guy comes to you with a business proposition. Sounds good enough. You'll do it for yourself. Why would you do that? You wouldn't tell him to go take the business somewhere else. You tell him to do it with you, and you'd be so happy. You came. Oh my goodness, you came to me. I'm so excited to do this business venture with you. We're gonna make enough money. That'll be worth my time. But if it doesn't benefit you, you're not gonna send it to somebody else for sure. Why would you not tell them to continue to go forward and do this? Why would you not help the person who's asked you for help? And you would feel also terrible if they passed you up for the same opportunity. And so therefore, one needs to actually look at it and say, oh, when I'm doing a loan, I'm actually doing chesed. I am doing something big for somebody else, and the Torah commands you to do such a thing. Because there's no end, as we learned previously, to how much reward you can receive spiritually from doing this type of chesed. And so a person should find themselves wanting to pursue and find more opportunities to do this mitzvah. Right? And we go to say that's exactly what Shalom Aleichem said. Rodef tzedakah chesed yimtzeh chayim. It's someone who pursues charity and kindness finds life, because that's what gives you chiyus. That's what gives you liveliness and livelihood. So more so than what we also said this earlier in a previous chapter, more so than what the lender, the owner of the home, does for the poor person does for the lender, it makes him a better person. And so in our great many sins, the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination, tells us to say that we shouldn't be doing this mitzvah. It's a bad thing. We're just going to make ourselves poor. People are just a bunch of schnorrers. They're just taking our money. And that's how it makes us feel, even though it's against all of the advice of the rabbis of the Talmud. So some people are also continue to be lazy in this mitzvah because they want to exempt themselves, as I said earlier, which is to say, they think of the following. Why are they coming to me? They can ask somebody else. Why do they keep coming to me? There's people who are more rich. This is a stupid thing to say. Why? Because maybe they come to you because they think you're a better person. You'll treat them better. You'll treat them with more dignity. And he even quotes a case over here that even if you have other people around you who are wealthier, however, they don't want to help, so then this mitzvah becomes your mitzvah. And they're coming to you because they think you'll do the mitzvah. But everyone else, they don't think will do the mitzvah. They know you to be an upright, religious person. So why would you fall victim to your Yetzer Hara and not give them these loans or give them this tzedakah? And you wouldn't want them to die from not having this help, chas v'shalom. So that's a big thing. And the second thing is that since you can do this mitzvah, why would you not want to do the mitzvah? Same thing as before. When someone comes to you with a business deal that has a lot of value, this mitzvah has a lot of value. Think of all the good that comes bestowed upon you and all the blessings that come to you as a result of doing the mitzvah. It makes no sense that you want to not do this mitzvah at all. Okay, so one other thing that people will do to get out of these loans is they will say that they've already done a loan and they don't have the money to extend. Okay? So that's also not valid. Okay? Because a person you don't want to give your loan to a person who is unreliable, and who would you trust more than other Jewish people? So if you see somebody that's a trustworthy person, there's no reason for you to say that that the money would be lost, even if you have you've lost money previously. Excuse me. If you can trust this person. Yeah, I understand if you can't trust them. And especially if they're going to give you some type of guarantee or a surety for it. So, if this person himself, is not paying you back, so here's something to think about. If the reason that they don't pay you back is because, they're a tough guy and they don't want to pay and they'll fight you for a long time, okay, you're right. That is a valid complaint. You don't have to give them. And especially if it's going to cost you so much time and effort to get the money out of them in court, then you're right. That's damaging your money. That case, you're right. What if it was he just things just went south? There was nothing malicious intent at all. You're not exempt. And so from here we see all of these cases in sections 8 and 9, and I'll add that to here that we did 9 this time also, is to say that you can only have actual damage related reasons to be stingy and recalcitrant from doing this mitzvah. They have to be that this person the person that's asking for the loan or asking for the chesed or even wants to give, they're so impossible to deal with. They have such a bad reputation that you don't do business with them. Someone every so often I like to send the joke I saw on a TV show one time. It was on The Simpsons, and there was a sign in a grocery store that said, "Don't accept checks from the following," and it said it listed a whole bunch of names, but it was kind of funny. So it says, "Don't checks from the chief of police, Chief Wiggum, right? The chief of police. Don't accept checks from the Reverend, and don't accept checks from Homer Simpson, Homer J. Simpson, Homer J. Sim, Homer J. Fonz." It's like all these names they got to take because they give them these fake documents to pay them back. Those situations, yes, we will agree that those are valid complaints. But if everything's right about the person, something's wrong, you're in the right. If they're wrong, if they're not good, they're no good, you're not in the wrong. They have to, as we learned earlier, they have to be trustworthy people, as long as they do everything right and they're not considered thieves, and they're not perceived and understood and recognized to be such type of people. Those people, there is no mitzvah to throw away your money like that. You don't have to damage yourself. Throwing away your money would be damage. I need $50. I'll light it on fire. You don't have to do that. You can give them the money. The mitzvah is to give them the money with the expectation they pay you back. You can also give them tzedakah. Also that too. If they're really hungry and they just need to eat, there is a mitzvah, an obligation to give them $10 to go get a meal. Much like on Purim, we have matanos l'avyonim. You have to give them enough money to be able to have a meal. So people used to give $5, right? Those days of $5 being able to eat, are long gone. It's $10 now. $10. So give $20 matzvir matanos le'avyonim at a bare minimum, so that way they could eat a meal. So those type of things are immediate obligations. But the other drawbacks of a person not wanting to do this mitzvah, doing chesed, are just their feeble attempts at selfishness, and need to be eliminated from one's personality. We'll hold it today. I will update the description of this class. As always, check the YouTube page for more fun content, especially follow-ups on Hilchos Pesach. We'll be talking more about Pesach this month as we celebrate Pesach 5784. Everyone have a wonderful day.